Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keep Your Money Show. I'm Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steindler. Bart, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's another $1 million morning, and Art Prize started in Grand Rapids.
Yep. So
the crowds are here.
The people have arrived. Did you get a chance to get down there at all, or?
I've looked at a little bit of it.
Yeah.
You know, I live downtown, and so, you know, it's all around me. And I've walked up and down a few times, looked at a few pieces. There's this one that is over by the one ice cream place, Kilwin's, downtown. And it's this huge, glossy map of Michigan, Lower and Upper Peninsula. And instead of, roads on the maps, it's photographs on the map of these gorgeous sunsets and lake scenes and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a cool piece.
Interesting. I think it's kind of cool that they're going to go to every other year, because I feel like that'll give artists more time to create more, statement type pieces and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, this is a Keeping Your Money Show where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, the bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. If you miss any part of the show, you can always find it on our website. Just go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Just search for the Keeping Your Money Show. If you ever want to talk to us, you can give us a call. Our phone number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. We don't take calls on the air, but we do always answer your call personally, whether you have a question for the show, maybe you disagree with something we said, or maybe you want a second opinion on what you're currently doing with your financial situation. We would be happy to help. So we got a great show on deck. This is what we're going to talk about today. You don't need perfect timing. You just need time to earn big returns in the market. A different way of looking at it than maybe some of the national programs with their trading mentalities talk about. Let's talk about getting high. There's all this talk about marijuana stocks, and we would be remiss to not at least have a conversation on them. So we will discuss that later on today as well. We're going to start doing a new segment on the show every few weeks. We're going to do a spotlight on one of the advisors that works with us here, so you can start to, after all these years, maybe you can meet and understand who some of the other people are here besides just Bart, myself, and Troy. And then 10 years after the financial crisis, Americans are still looking for a deal. We're going to talk about how certain things happen in the economy that can shift the way the American public does things and how the economy works. And one of the things that I really want to highlight in that is how it's really difficult to be a do-it-yourself investor when you realize how much things can change without you even realizing it yourself. So we'll talk more about that later. All that and more right here on the Keeping Your Money Show. So let's talk about time and timing. If you watch any national program that has anything to do with economy, markets, business, whatever, you will see, if they don't have a program for it, which many of them do, they will at least have conversations about it and definitely commercials for it. And that is this concept of trading. What do you buy now? What do you sell now? Is this a good time to buy? Should I be looking at this now or at the end of the year? And it's this mentality that's, in my opinion, been driven by the national companies who make $24 every time you make a trade to encourage us as Americans to be trading all the time. And the realities are that it's very difficult to be a good trader.
Yeah, I think this article stated, and I found this to be true time and time again when I've looked at anything on this topic, that you can't consistently time markets or time specific investments on a consistent basis. And I think this article said that even the best market timers are usually right 1 out of 3 times.
Right.
And
Well, it's like the people they'll highlight. It's like Nouriel Roubini. They always introduce him as the guy who predicted the 2008 market crash. He also predicted the 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12 market crashes that never happened.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right.
that's great. He was right that one time, but, Chicken Little was right eventually too.
Yeah, and it reminds me too of a person who sends me a financial letter that he subscribes to, and every couple months he'll send me this financial letter, and I swear every single time I get this letter, it's doom and gloom. It's the country is got too much debt, which it does, but it's talking about how all these things is going to just swallow us up, and the market is going to have this huge correction, and everybody's going to lose everything, and you want to be invested in these assets that won't be affected. Well, if that happens, there are not going to be assets that are not affected, number one. And number two, these people are making a living on the fact that a lot of people have this fear, and a lot of people feel that are so emotionally invested that our government is going to louse up everything and it's all going to fall apart. As inefficient and as many mistakes as our government makes, our economy seems to keep progressing through it and getting there from time to time to time. And I went back and looked at these letters going back 5 or 10 years, and I wouldn't read every one of them, but I just randomly click on one, and it was always the same theme over and over and over again. It just didn't happen.
Right. Well, and the author of this article, which I'd be remiss to not say, it's Ken Fisher, and it hurts me to talk about something that he wrote, but this is a good article. If you don't know who Ken Fisher is, then you don't watching TV, because he has a commercial on all the time. But the thing that he highlights is something we talk about all the time with our clients, with people who come in that want to discuss retirement, and that is time. Time is your biggest friend. Time is so important. It's why the 45-year-old who hasn't started saving, who says, I'm going to, doesn't really even realize how far behind they really are. And he takes an example of these 3 siblings, and these are not real people, of course. And he calls them Jeanette, No Timing Jackpot, and Terrible Timing Jebediah. Okay. And he says that let's believe that they each invest $10,000 in the Standard & Poor 500, and they do that every year from 1977 to 2018. And so we pretend Jeanette has perfect timing. She gets out right before the market goes down. She's never had a down day. She gets back in when the market is hot. She earns an average annual return of 11.4%, and turns her investment of $410,000 into $8 million. No Timing Jackpot, who basically just threw it in there and hoped for the best, right? He comes out as $7.8 million. And even Terrible Timing Jebediah, the guy who couldn't have predicted things worse, buys when the market's at an all-time high, all of that. He comes out at $6.7 million. The point being, them all being invested from 1977 to 2018 was the key to their investment success. It wasn't that they bought on April 12th instead of April 29th, or that they sold in 2007 instead of riding it out. It's that they stayed invested. And here's where timing is really dangerous. And we see this right now. We had somebody come in not even 2 months ago who has not gone back into the stock market since they got hammered during the financial crisis. Okay? How many hundreds of percents are we up right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, I understand that was painful, and I would say maybe you should have had an advisor to help you through that, but regardless, if you had at least just stuck around, you'd be back to where you were and better. But when we don't have a strategy for our investment, and we think we're going to be able to hop in and out, we put ourselves in a really dangerous position, because what I always say to people is, okay, deciding to sell is the easiest thing you'll ever make. That's the easiest decision. The question is, when do you buy again? Because if you're wrong and the market keeps going up, at what point in time does the fact that you're missing out on that override your discipline to stay out? 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years? I don't know. And so what happens is if you sell too early, which most people are going to, now you're in this desperation mode of, oh my gosh, that was another 2% I missed out on. That was another 2% I missed out on. And if the reverse happens and the market goes down, you happen to be perfect, as shown in that example, Jeanette really didn't come out that much better. So how much more risk are you taking for just a little bit better return?
Yeah.
Huge.
They say here, time in the market beats timing the market.
Right.
And that kind of sums it all up right there. And we've said over and over and over again that the most important thing is that you start putting money away and you have a plan and you keep adding to it over a long period of time. That is more important than the actual investments that you put it in. Now,
that's not to say you shouldn't be looking at your initial investments that you're going into. You want to be intelligent about what you're investing in.
Totally agree. But if you're going to look at both factors and saying, is it more important? Yeah, obviously we want to be in good investments. But it's the key thing is to start putting it away, keep putting it away, and give it time to grow. And the other thing too, and that if you have a fear that the market is going to go down, there are other strategies that you can take besides getting out of the market. And these are the things that a good advisor can advise you on and educate you on and help you get through that. Because there are ways to stay in the market and reduce your risk.
Well, and remember,
you can reduce that risk without just saying, I'm going to sell and go into cash.
And remember, when you go into cash, you're locking in losses. Number one, you're locking in losses of whatever happened up to that point. Mm-hmm. So if in January of 2008, January of 2009, you were like, I just can't take this anymore, and you got out, you locked in all that loss.
Yep.
But the flip side of that is even if you haven't been losing, let's say today you decided, I gotta get out. It's just market's been too hot. I gotta get out. From that day forward, you're losing buying power. You're losing spending power because your cash is earning nothing. We're in such a low interest rate environment that you're still going backwards, even though maybe your account balance isn't changing. Mm-hmm. The ability for that account balance to actually purchase the same thing it did a year ago continues to go down. So
right, you have to beat inflation when you're looking at what you're making. To stay even, you have to make as much as inflation.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk about weed. I know. So many people have called to ask about it. We decided to do a whole segment on it. So stick around. Coming up here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.